Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Malone Downloader J-Style Kayak Carrier here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So this is going to be a very nice way, guys, of getting your kayaks either up on your roof or even potentially on some kind of bed rack system here on our Gladiator. Now the one thing I'll say to it though, the reason we actually have it here above our cab as opposed to on the back of our Overland is that these bars were actually just a little bit too thick for these guys. Now, we actually do have some longer bolts as well that come available, and depending on your own roof rack at home, they might actually work for you. Today I just went ahead and threw them here on my Rhino-Rack Vortex bars, as they are kind of more traditional Aero style that I think a lot of us are going to be kind of more used to seeing. And that actually has a really good fit on here. Really like how that mounting option works, and we're going to kind of break that down later on in the video for you. We do have a 75-pound weight capacity here, which is great. So I think a lot of us are going to have a pretty A-OK time with our kayaks. Now our kayak here is about 9.5 feet long as well, so you can see pretty sizable for our Gladiator. Now I do kind of like it here on the cab, but the one thing I'll say, we're going to be very limited on our weight capacity for our roof. So what's nice about this is we're going to show you guys later on, you're going to have a ton of room there on the other side for a variety of other accessories. The one thing that's going to really limit us though is the roof of our Gladiator. Now I haven't found anything concrete, but one thing I did see was about 150 pounds where that was on a Jeep Wrangler, which is the same kind of composition as these guys. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Let's make sure we're doing a good job of consulting our own vehicle's owner's manual guide to make sure we're not having any danger with actually mounting them on. But again, very nice system here, and I actually do have them mounted on 65-inch bars here on the Gladiator. Why I like that, you can see I have a little bit of overhang here, and that allows me to actually mount it on the outside of my towers, making it a lot easier to actually access my kayak whether I'm getting it on or off. I really do like how that works. You're seeing here at the top too, we do have this nice little shelf plate. What I like about that guy, it becomes easy to get your kayak kind of loaded up on there and then slot it in. And what's great about this, we could actually use the Telos load assist system to actually clamp right on here on the side. And what that allows you to do is kind of work your kayak up. So if you guys are having a little trouble lifting this up, I know I'm 6'1", and already you can see that's pretty above my head there. If we're not quite liking that height, that could be a great little subsystem to actually look at to actually help us assist us get our kayak on here. You also are seeing some pretty nice straps that are included. Now, they're not my favorite straps. Do they do the job? Yes. And we have this little felt covering there protecting us. Just a little cam buckle there. The one thing I'll say, it is exposed. So you might see a little bit of tarnish on there, and I would just be worried about it a little bit because it being out in the weather. And so a little bit of maintenance on here can go a long way, making sure that guy is usable for the years to come. Now, one thing I might suggest is actually looking at the eTrailer Kayak tie-down kit, and why that is, I'm actually already using one little sub part of that whole system, or that kit I should say, to actually make this work. And where I'm doing that is actually on my bow strap. So we also do have bow and stern straps that come included. However, on our Gladiator, there's really not too much room to hook up inside our hood. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we actually are going to come with our ropes here for our bow and our stern. It works really well in the back because our Gladiator has some pretty nice tie-off points in the bed of our truck. Of course, here in the front though, there's really not a good place for our little S-hook to actually find a home for itself. So what I've done, I've actually grabbed this little guy here. Now these are commonly referred to as dog bones. And what's great about them, they allow you to give yourself a temporary mounting point, right? So all I have to do, set this in here, close my hood, and now I have a point for my hook to actually hook into. Now again, this is available here in the eTrailer Kayak tie-down kit, and that's one thing I might actually suggest because I think you're gonna get a little bit of an upgrade to all of your straps, including your bow and stern, tie downs, and of course, it'll come with these nice little anchors. That way, we have a way easier time of getting our kayak situated and tied down. Let's take note of how we actually have it ran though. So one of our strap is going to be our cam buckle. Our other is of course going to be inserting into it. I have it ran here to the bottom position just to give it another tether point. But let's make sure we are going around our roof rack system here. That can be very helpful of giving us that support that we're looking for. Now all I have to do is simply press in that lever. That's going to allow me to pull my strap out through here and around. And one thing that's pretty cool about the Malone, we actually have a little plastic hook that's keeping these in place. So that can be very helpful, as you guys are gonna see later, of actually starting to get this mounted up. Why don't we go ahead and see how it's actually held in though, as I begin to dismount this cam buckle. What's really helpful here, loosen up your other side, kind of pull on your kayak a little bit to get that length, and then all we have to do is simply pull it out just like that. I would suggest actually holding your cam buckle side. You definitely don't want it popping around and falling down and causing any damage. Let's go ahead and repeat that process so we can get our kayak off. Well, with our straps removed, we can actually go ahead and take down our kayak. To do so, we actually have a little open area in the back here. If you guys want to take a look right underneath here. And what you can kind of do with this open triangle is actually shift your hull of your kayak kind of into there, and that's going to allow it to rotate out. And that's why I'm going to let this top kind of drop down to me. Can be helpful to grab the sides here and then to the very top, and that way you can kind of keep the weight still on your carrier. I'm just kind of balancing it there. And what's helpful with our down loader, we can kind of get it up onto that plate, make sure our dismount's good, and walk it right off. Of course, mounting it becomes just as easy. Getting it to that plate can be very helpful, and then just shifting it on into position and then walking it up. So pretty straightforward. Again, when you do it a couple more times, you'll get more used to it. We're ready to kayak. So now that we have our kayak removed, we can actually take a look here at our carrier itself. Again, you can kind of get a better look here at that plastic clip. What I like doing with this guy is actually bringing down our arms, as I'm going to show you guys here in a second, and running our straps on here first, and then you kind of walk it up. And that makes it a lot easier to actually get that strap in place. Here on the sides, of course, we are going to have our little Malone covers covering that nice little marine foam. Now this guy, I could actually see it get a little bit wet. It might take a little time to dry off. So if we are kind of having our kayaks on there wet, I would suggest maybe taking your covers off to allow it to dry just a little more. But I do like those covers because then, of course, you can just pop them off, clean them, and throw them on in no time. It is going to be made of aluminum as well, so pretty lightweight. And here at the front, we have this little kind of foam blockers. Now, they're not my favorite foam. They're pretty hard, honestly. I mean, they're soft enough to not kind of cause any damage to your kayak's paint or anything like that. But again, not the softest kind of pads we have out there. And again, though, I do like this front plate. You guys can kind of get a better look at it here, making it easier to actually slide it on, and just a little bit of padding on that front element as well. Now, of course, we do have an adjustable J-style kayak carrier. That's what's pretty nice about these guys. All I have to do, press that lever out, and that lets me rotate this as much as I need, which is really great. But before I do that, let me go ahead and actually put it at its utmost position here. Now, I don't think a lot of us are gonna be transporting it just like this. Primarily, you do wanna have an angle. That way your kayak sits back a little bit and isn't gonna be like kind of falling towards the outside of your car. But let me drop this to its highest position, grab my handy dandy tape measure, give us some measurements. So from the top of my roof rack here to the very top of my plastic clip, that's putting me about 20 1/4 of an inch. Again, a lot of us are probably not gonna have it in that position, but that is gonna be the most extreme we can get. Again, our kayak is gonna be a little taller, so let's make sure we are accounting for that as we are either pulling in the garage or through those pesky drive-throughs. But now I can drop it down here, and this is really gonna reduce my height, right? Now the highest portion is actually gonna be this guy right here. Bear with me as I try to find my balance to actually get that height. And I am gonna have to line it up here to my roof bar as we have a little bit of overhang, and that's putting me about 5 1/8 to about 1/4 of an inch there. So really not too much height being added on here. I do love to see that. Now, if you're talking about where is this on my rack, overall, in this folded position, you have about, again, that 21 and about 1/4 of an inch for length. So that can give you a pretty good idea if you had it in this position here on the outside of your Jeep. You do have a little bit of an overhang, not too much though, and again, not really gonna be impacting our driving that much, but let's definitely be careful about it just a little bit. But I really do love how I can condense that down. That makes it a lot easier to pull in the garage. But let's take a look at how this is actually mounted on here. On the underneath, we actually just have a flange mount with 2 little speed knobs. Now, all we have to do, of course, is back these guys off lefty-loosey to release it, righty-tighty to secure it. And I really do like how this works. Again, you might have a little bit of issue with your longer bars, but again, longer bolts can always solve that issue, which is great. And all we have to do is tighten that up. It'll be nice and secure. Well, overall, I actually do really like the Malone downloader. You know, it's pretty comparable to a lot of the guys here at etrailer.com. The one thing I don't really like about it is going to be that strap, and that's easily remedied. Again, I'll give you guys one more chance out of that etrailer tie down kit. Just gives you a lot better of a strap, and I really do like those foam anchors, making it a lot easier to get on. I really don't think you can beat the accessibility of actually adding on that Load Assist system. Really do like how that guy works, especially if you're having a harder time, as our Gladiator is quite up there. Again, hopefully a lot of us have these nice running boards to actually get up on top. And again, we don't actually have to put this just on our cab. We can find a way to actually get it over the bed of our vehicle, which can be great. But I really do like how much room we're leaving ourselves here with this J-style kayak carrier. Definitely gonna have room for another kayak on the other side, and potentially adding a couple, like maybe a roof box or a roof cargo basket, which is definitely excellent. Overall, I still think this is gonna be a great way of getting your kayak to wherever you guys wanna go, and hopefully it definitely helps. Otherwise, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Malone Downloader J-Style Kayak Carrier here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.